Hi everyone, I'm Mario, and this is postcard 56 of Double Cross Anime. Whooper is with me.
Hello.
Uh, Today we're gonna do the episode 11 of Mix and Fruit Basket and episode 10 of Carol and Tuesday and Sarazanalysis. So it's only 1 week before Sarazanalysis have having it finally. Can't
Yep.
really wait for
And
that,
the
right?
rest, yeah. Well, I mean, one of us probably can't wait. The other one might be able to wait. We'll get to that. But we also
Right.
the it should be mentioned that the other three series here are two core.
Uh, are you are you sure about Mix?
I'm not 100% sure, but I did get into a discussion online with somebody
Yep.
who's pretty knowledgeable about like time slots in
Mm-hmm.
Japanese broadcasting, and there is no new show that's scheduled to replace Mix in its time slot next season. So it's
That's
it's likely that it's going to go for another core.
that would be a good news because I really think that Mix need another season because like all of what we have seen so far is just nothing more than a prologue.
Um, well, I mean, I would say that the high school stuff was a prologue. Now that they're settled into middle school, I'd say the story is underway. It just moves slowly.
Yeah.
And they're going to need more than just one additional core. You know, you're going to need 50 episodes or so, and the
Yeah.
manga's
I
ongoing. You know,
Yep. I agree. Yep. All right. So what
we're also going to do
shows?
Future Boy Conan at the end.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're gonna do episode 13 to 16 of Future Boy Conan.
Right. But getting back to
Um,
seasonal stuff.
yep. All right. I think we can start with Fruit Basket first.
Okay. Perfect.
All
That's at the
right.
top of my little page of notes here. I don't even have to scroll.
All right. We, we can do that. Um, Fruit Basket. So this is the onsen episodes.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Um, all right. How you feel about this episode in general? Is that forgettable? You
uh,
just mentioned me before that you wouldn't have remembered any detail if not for the notes that you have.
right. um, I honestly I thought the episode was fine, but it's fine in a way that will be like appealing to existing fans of the series,
Yep.
or just fans of this adaptation. And I'm neither of those.
Hmm.
So all the comedy. This episode was very comedy heavy, comedy in
Hmm.
quotation marks, like jokes about the boys wanting to bathe together with Toru, and then the hostess, the woman who's uh, making sure that they're getting to their room okay and seeing to their needs. You know, she's really frail, and but then whenever she's lecturing Kyo, she becomes possessed by this really violent personality,
Yep.
which we've already seen with both Kagura and Haru. Like there's been
Yep.
two other characters in the show already who had that kind of bait and switch personality
With
trick.
with Kyo as well.
Kyoto isn't well. He's him
No, no,
too.
no, I mean like the other two. They have like the violent tendency with Kyo
Oh, okay. I
and
don't remember Haru having
see
that
the same.
tendency with Kyo specifically.
That's right. Yeah, he did. Like
Oh,
he have like the good side and the light side and the dark side,
yeah. They specifically
and
say like dark Haru, or
yeah,
something, which
and
just made me laugh.
and whenever the dark Haru is like switch on, it because like he has something. See, he has something to do with Kyo.
Huh.
So
Okay.
yes, they all have to do with Kyo.
Well, then it's even more samey.
Yep, yep, yep.
So all the
Um,
comedy, like I wasn't a fan of the general tone of the episode, but I thought it was all right. How about you?
I also thought that this episode is alright. I really enjoy the story within the story. that
Yeah.
Momichi tell this week. It's a little sad story. The thing that I don't really like about that story is that Fruits Basket tend to make a comparison between that main characters, the tragic girl who just trust other people that she is taking advantage by everyone around her to Toru.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, every episode there needs to be some reminder of Toru's goodness and kindness
Yeah,
and
I
benevolence.
I think that a bit too much, but the story itself is I think pretty heartwarming. Like I think like whenever Fruit Basket do like some side stories, some story like that, or some flashback, it normally work.
Yeah.
So I
I
enjoyed that.
guess.
The hot spring itself is alright. I want to see more. I think that's a they have a good idea that the one the frail woman is the mother of the monkey, which we haven't seen this character yet. So I think he or she will, I think it's a guy, so he will appear like maybe next episode or so.
You think the monkey is also going to seem reserved and quiet and then is going
Um,
to go like full
I
chimpanzee?
I hope I hope not. I hope like he has like another character personality other than like uh Yuki's or Kyo's.
Yeah. I mean, it's true that I have that criticism of the mother character that she's just a type that we've seen already. But yeah, she is relevant because she's the mother of one of the Zodiac
Mm-hmm.
members. So,
Yep.
but on the other hand, that just gives the show more opportunities to bring her back around and use the exact same gag if she
Yep.
is closely related to one of the 12.
Yep.
So,
I,
whatever.
th- I I I think she will make appearance later on, like whenever they go to this onsen or like she will appear back, and I think this hygiene will gonna get repeated every time.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's part of the Fruits Basket formula.
Yep.
It
Yep.
is a pretty formulaic series so far. Everyone swears up and down. Oh yeah, the best material comes later. The show gets way darker, way more interesting. The mythology of the Somas gets cleared up, and provides a lot of intrigue. And I'm hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, wow, that sounds really cool. If only it had not been just built to run forever as
Yep.
a shojo fantasy.
I still think that the show is patting itself to teen because I just want the show to get into another Zodiac members or address the main overarching stories, which is I think Shigure from last week.
What?
So
Oh
Shigure
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
yep.
All
So
the talk he does about the fact that he's using
yep,
Toru, and he's in this like war with Akito and blah 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 blah.
that's right.
There's blood on his hands or dirt or whatever.
So yeah, I I don't know, man. Like I think the main three, Toru, Yuki, and
Kyo.
Kyo, having like very good chemistry to each other, but they need some more drama. They need something that throw out their balance. This is pretty much like they are in the balance, and you see the same thing just keep happening every time. The dynamic between them.
Well, there is something a little bit new this time. At the very end of the episode, when the scene on the bridge, there's the
Yep.
table tennis scene, which is just ridiculous. And Yuki finds it funny, but he leaves the room and he goes out onto the bridge because he doesn't want to laugh in front of Kyo. Um,
Yep.
and there was actually a nice admission there where he says to Toru, "I've never even laughed like this in front of my parents," which
Yep.
hints at like a really repressive upbringing, and that they could the author, the writers, whatever, they could bring that back later.
Yep.
In fact, it kind of explains Yuki's character. He is kind of stoic, and everyone calls him Oji. They call him a prince, probably because he has a somewhat dignified air about him. But that's likely a result of that, that self-imposed quietness and reservedness. So that's a nice little note about his character that the show manages to work in. But then after that, there's like the most overtly romantic scene so far between two characters, which ends up just being a joke because everything else in this episode is a joke. He's like, "How did you like my act?" I was just kidding, guys. But
Yep.
things do get sort of hot between the two of them for a second. When he gives her the ribbon and then is like threading his fingers through her hair to touch the ribbon and like kisses it.
Yep. Yep. I think like Toru pretty much feel the heat herself.
Yeah, I mean her her entire face lights up.
Yep.
But
Is that
it's so that is
it?
different. That is something different in their dynamic. But then yeah, it does turn out to be just like a sexy fake out. Oh.
Yep. Yep. Uh, so I just hope that the show push more forward, put more the drama forward, because just at the moment I just feel like the show needs something more, needs some drama, needs something for me to care.
I'm gonna predict, since people are saying that this is gonna be a 60+ episode runner,
Yep.
I'm gonna predict that we don't get into more of the like Akito drama until the first two cores are over. So not until like episode the mid-20s are we
Yep.
going to really dig into that at all. For now, it's just going to be introducing more characters. I mean, they've already foreshadowed it with the proprietress of the hot spring being
Monkey.
Monkey's
Yep.
mom. So we're probably going to get Monkey soon, and then we're going to get another person. The monkey might allude to being friends with somebody. The characters are often
Yep.
introduced in pairs, like Haru and Momiji were introduced at the same time. Or I'm sorry, Harry. Not there's Harry, which is short for Hatori,
Hattori, yeah.
and
That's
Momiji.
right, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
was anyone introduced alongside Haru? Maybe not.
Not that I think of at the moment. But then again, Haru and Kagumi,
Kagura?
is that her name? Kagura, yeah, are kind of the same characters.
Yeah, kind of. They do have that
Yeah.
same like dominant trait of hot and cold.
Yeah, so I really hope that when Haru will be more prominent in the future, he gonna make something out of it. He gonna be more like independent.
I don't know. I think he kind of exists to be the not the bad boy, but like the stylish, really good-looking one. Remember, there were all the scenes of like girls fawning over him on the street until he displays some weird behavior, and they're like, "What's
Yep.
the matter with this guy?"
Yep.
He's going to transfer into their school. I guess that should be noted. Is that Momiji and
Haru.
and Haru, they're gonna be part of the school. So we might start getting more school scenes, which is okay, I guess. We got one at the start of this episode, and it was all right.
Yep. All right. Do you have anything else on your note?
I do. I actually have like
mentioning?
one major point that I could bring up, but it's just more complaining. So
Right.
not gonna bother.
No, go go for that.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. You sure?
Yeah, this is not of these four shows. This is the one that is like least important to me to discuss in full,
All right.
especially since it's gonna be so long and it's not anywhere close to its best material apparently.
Right. All right. You can choose between Mix or Carol and Tuesday
Why don't you
Mix.
want to do Sarazanmai?
We we can do Sarazan, right?
I mean, we don't have to necessarily. Just why do you want to save that for the end?
I don't say that for the end though. I say that till after this after this one.
Okay, but you just said pick between Mix and Carol and Tuesday.
Yep. So
Okay.
Mix. So like the one that we don't pick will be the last.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just gonna say Mix because it's next on my word doc here.
You lazy
Lazy,
bastard.
really? Okay.
All right, let's go with Mix. So we had a little bit more baseball this week, but we still haven't got into any real match yet.
Yeah, we're not in the regular season. We're certainly not in the Tokyo tournament.
Right. I would say like compared to the last episode, this one is a bit let down for me.
Really?
Just a
Okay.
bit though. Yep. I think that the interaction, the chemistry between the four men are not as fleshed out as the last episodes. There is one nice moment though when everyone, especially the coach, seem to realize that Show is actually a good pitcher himself.
Yeah. Something we already knew from the scene at the end of episode 3, which is now revisited.
Yep.
Um,
And actually Show talk more about the decision why it's Toma who become a ace pitcher,
yeah.
and it's out of my god. It just so random.
What, the rock, paper, scissors?
The rock paper scissors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to be honest, I'm wondering whether that is a defense mechanism
it
on
is.
his
I
part.
think.
Like, perhaps they really did play rock, paper, scissors, and Toma won. But it may be that over the course of their competition, Toma demonstrated that he had a leg up, and um, and both brothers knew that. Nevertheless, they played rock, paper, scissors, and Toma won, so he got the job. But so Ichido might recognize on some level that Toma is a better pitcher than he is. And so he uses his loss at rock, paper, scissors to kind of excuse the fact that Toma is the pitcher.
Yeah, I do think that the series make intentionally make it like not a big deal. So like the decision for them become who they are now. It just come out from it just from rock paper and scissors. But like I think they are in comfortable with that. Do you think the brothers?
No, I don't think that So is comfortable with it. In fact, I think that's the whole point of the rock, paper, scissors scene, is that he's relying on that memory and kind of tweaked it a little bit in order to
Mhm.
explain why he holds the catcher position. He also says something interesting in that Toma is
Mhm.
able to pitch to him,
Mhm.
but Toma is not a catcher, so
Yep.
can't pitch to his brother.
Yep.
So that may be the advantage that Toma actually has and actually had in the past.
Mm.
So is taking on like a more selfless role here. He's using his versatility because he can play multiple positions. It seems. So
Yep.
he's using his versatility in order to increase the strength of his brother, thus
Mhm.
increasing the strength of whatever team they're on. But at the same time, like the cost of doing that is that his preferred position, pitcher,
Yep.
eludes him. So
Right.
I think that the burden of carrying that for years now, because they said at the start of junior high they figured this out. So it's been 3 years.
Mhm.
That's a big burden that he's been carrying around, and
Yep.
I think that's only going to be exacerbated by the fact that Haruka is interested in Toma.
Yep. I think that's a very mature decision from Show when he explained it that way. because he want to play alongside with his brothers, not like competing with his brother for the positions.
Right.
So that like the big brothers the arguments for me, and it's really great. It say a lot about his characters.
Yeah, although it does make me wonder, like when there might be some sort of significant friction between them. Like we get the scene near the start of the episode where Nanchan is doing batting practice and he's targeting
Yep,
Toma because Toma's just been out with Haruka on this date.
yep,
Um, and it's scary because Nanchan's a big guy, and so and he's apparently a very accurate batter as well. But So also says, "You better watch out because I'm batting next, and my ball control's even better."
yep,
So
yep.
there's already like a little bit of friction, a little bit of antagonism creeping into their relationship, and they both seem
And
to downplay things. So it'll be
yep.
a while before any of that spills over. I doubt they'll ever get into like a screaming match or a fist fight or anything like that. But there may like the conflict between them may become more significant in like in some subtle way in the future.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way that all these chemistry is set up and have been hinted before. So I really enjoy those frictions they have now and gonna be more relevant in the future.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Haruka, she act unlike any teenagers of like any normal teenagers. Remember the scene where she talked to her father about her mom.
Yes.
So not only she agree that they need to be separated because mom wanted to write. Um, she also said that she is blessed because both of her parents are following their dreams.
Right.
I when I heard that, I just, oh my god, like no like normal teenager would say and behave like that. But like all the characters of this series and Adachi's series are all like that.
Well, it's I don't think that a lot of teenagers would say that, but as with Soichiro, saying,
Yep.
"Oh, I just lost in rock paper scissors," it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That just may be Haruka's way of dealing with the fact that her parents are split up.
All right. I think I get what you mean. Yep.
Um,
Mm.
but like especially compared to teenagers in anime,
Yep.
the thing about anime to me, like as a whole, is that Japan is I've never been there, and
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm not any sort of expert, I'm not any sort of academic, but there are plenty of accounts of Japan being a pretty repressive society.
Mm-hmm.
People keep their feelings and their thoughts to themselves lots of the time. Displays of strong emotion are uh, kind of frowned upon. You're
Yep.
you're supposed to live in harmony with others.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that anime functions as a kind of like pressure valve for that.
Yep.
In anime, you do get a lot of characters who are just acting on their impulses. They're saying exactly what they think. They are, just acting nuts. They're acting crazy, um, and they're often commenting on the tropes and the experiences of like high school life that Japan would rather have you just take in and process quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I feel as though in anime there's a lot of characters who are like you can take them at face value, but that's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the way that human beings are.
Yep.
And I think Mix understands that. I mean, yeah, perhaps its characters are like a little too thoughtful and a little too subtle, but they're
Yep.
also just they don't act like quote unquote anime characters. They certainly are, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay that Haruka has this very mature perspective on her mother and father's split. I think
Yep.
that's all right.
Mhm.
So there's my little there's my thesis for this week.
That's good.
Very slowly constructed. I was speaking so slowly.
Very deep.
Oh yeah,
Um,
so deep.
there is another scenes between the three brothers, Otomi, Sho, and Toma when they're looking for their dog. Get
Uh,
sick.
they're not looking for their dog, right?
They looking at the dog.
Yeah, like Otomi is downstairs,
Right.
and she's upset because of the news that she's gotten from the vet about Punch. Like, oh, don't worry, it'll be fine. Oh,
Yep.
something actually just struck me. Oh, this is going to be good fuel for the blog post. Yes, something
Yep.
about that scene just struck me.
All right.
No, you go on. How did you feel about that scene?
Um. Yeah, I feel alright. Now that I lost my thought, I don't even.
Well,
Right.
you're talking about the scene where all three of the siblings eventually end up down there.
Yep.
But Otomi is there first, and Toma like stumbles upon her, and she's upset, not just about the dog, but about something else too.
Right. That's why I don't remember what is he upset about. Is that about Toma going out the day before?
No, I mean I'm sure that bothers her on some level, but I really do appreciate that scene is not about that at all. It's about her dad.
Oh yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. She don't mention something about her dad. All right. Would you tell more?
Sure. Uh, she is kind of upset at the fact that she wasn't more upset at her father's passing because she was so young.
Yep.
So she's remembering her father. She's trying her best to call what memory she can to mind, but she isn't really able to remember him completely, and so she kind of regrets the fact that she wasn't older when he passed, so she wasn't able to like feel that
Yep.
loss,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is really interesting regret for her to have.
Yep.
Especially since the two brothers were 1 year older, so maybe
Yep.
they did have like a slightly more realized perspective on his death, on their each of their parents' deaths.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
Not
maybe
not for
I think maybe she feels a little bit left behind by that.
Not for Tomato. He
Right.
doesn't really feel sad or anything by his mother and dad. That's why
Well,
he got like the whole shoulder in his face.
right, yeah, which is revisited in the little dream
Yep.
sequence,
Yep.
which I thought was interesting, especially the rhythm gymnastics ribbon being twirled, and him like
Mhm.
really focusing on that. I wonder if he's recalling another memory of Haruka, because she's a rhythm gymnast, as we see in this episode.
That's right.
So maybe they met a second time in their past, and we're going to get that, down the road somewhere. It's going to be revealed
Yeah.
that it wasn't just the one-off meeting at the funeral. They saw each other again. Totally
Right.
plausible because their fathers were friends.
Yep. I enjoy on the match cut between the ball from the gymnastic to the baseball to the ball from the baseball.
Yeah, I did like that one, but the one before with the moon
Yep.
transitioning into, what did it transition into?
The rhythmic ball.
It was because the rhythm gymnastics scene was after the commercial break, but I thought the moon transition was
Awkward.
yeah,
I don't
it
remember.
was. Let's not kid ourselves. Like the camera pans up to the moon, and then the shot zooms in on an axis, like
Alright.
up towards the moon, and then they do the match cut. I was like, oh my god, that was just so much effort. Like it's as though you sweated all over the storyboards in your in your like haste to make this work.
Right. Yep. So like there's still many like little detail that I really appreciate in these episodes.
Yeah. I mean,
hopefully there's something more.
yeah, I have a couple more things that I
All
can
right.
mention, I think. How about the ramen place getting robbed?
Yeah, that feel a bit awkward. Like who would drop the ramen place?
I don't know. At first, I thought
I
that the thief was going to be like someone we knew, you know,
Yep.
probably because all of Adachi's characters look kind of similar, but like even on even when they've got a mask over their face. But I thought it was going to be like some kind of prank or I don't know. But
Well,
you know, I think the reason that it felt kind of awkward was because the show does tend to keep a light tone, like a
yep.
high spirited tone, even when it's dealing with more difficult issues. So the robbery is kind of like played off a little bit, um,
Ye-
right from the very start. That entire scene is lighthearted because the way that she, you know, like takes him down with her scarf is also
Yep.
kind of silly.
Right.
Um,
Well,
so the whole scene has some consistency there, but
for
it was definitely a bit weird.
yeah. Um, I think it tell you something about her characters.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think it wouldn't feel that much out of place, except for like who would drop the ramen place in the broad daylight and wearing a mask.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to wear the mask, you know.
I
Um,
all right.
I do like
I,
I do kind of like the scene as a way of introducing her mom's character because she's like very type A, you know.
yep.
Most
Mhm,
people would
mhm,
be like, "Oh my God, this guy's got a knife. I'm out of here." Um,
yep.
and I mean, maybe the reason
Not.
that she sprang into action was because her daughter was so close by. You know,
Yep.
as a parent, who knows? Like maybe there's a robber just in the general vicinity of your family, and you are automatically, you know, you go into like protect mode. Um, but yeah, it does establish the mom as like quite a character, and I do really like that scene between Goro and Haruka when they're discussing the fact that her mom visited. She says, "Mom felt like she couldn't be with you because all she could write were comedies." I thought that line was actually like pretty brilliant. um, and it you know it does make her out to be kind of a woman who like goes her own way. She does her own thing, and she
Yep.
does follow her dream as Haruka says. Um, so it was kind of fun.
Yep. Man, I really enjoy. I actually really enjoy the dialogues in this show.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The one
All
other
right.
scene that might be worth mentioning is the flashback to the dads, but I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
honestly, I don't have like a ton to say about it. It just is in keeping with Mix's obsession with the past. You know, like
Yeah, and I think like these characters are from the original show. What's the name of that again?
Touch.
Touch.
But
So
I
yeah,
actually I don't know about that.
right.
Because all the events of that flashback were after they had won the Koshien. So I don't
Hmm.
know necessarily if Toma's dad and Soichiro's dad, who are the two. We also see a couple other familiar characters. We see Goro, the current coach, and
Yep.
I think we also see Nishimura's dad,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
who
We,
now
we, we saw
coaches the
him
the
already.
team that was on the bus that picks them up at the start of the episode. They were all
Yep.
Meisei players, I think.
Yep.
Maybe. No, wait.
Oh,
No, I think
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
wrong
yeah.
about that because there was an earlier flashback in like episode 5 where Nishimura's dad is playing against Meisei.
I, I think like we saw him because it looked exactly like him.
Yeah, it did, but there are a lot of characters with that sort of wispy mustache and those sideburns.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean,
well,
I do think it was him, but I have a nagging feeling that I might be wrong.
or maybe he was the ex coach of
Oh yeah,
Messi.
yeah, he was the coach. Yeah, what am I talking about? He was the coach because the Toma's dad says, "Oh, the decision's already been made, hasn't it?"
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
So
Well, I'm dumb.
yep. All right. We also got a glimpse, not really a glimpse though, uh, of the school that used to be played in the final of Meche, like 40 years ago.
Right. Sumi Tech, which
Sumitech,
I think
that's right.
has a new name now, like it renamed itself.
Right.
Yeah, we
Um,
we got a glimpse of them in episode 5 as well. That's the one
right.
where Toma goes to see Nishimura's school because he's like thinking about like leaving Meisei potentially.
Yep.
So this is the second time their name has been dropped.
And I think they're gonna be like uh, uh, a formidable opponent in the future,
Yeah.
because I think the narration did say that every team now is ready for the tournaments, or something.
Yeah, it said like the field is wide open. Any team could go all the way, or you know
Yep.
that's
And
not that's not a perfect translation, but whatever.
yep. And we did hear like the water splash, and it
Yeah,
turned out to be that some guy just hit the ball into
the river.
the river. Yeah.
I think that just foreshadows like the presence of a really strong power hitter on the team.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I think as well. Yeah.
So there's probably just like Nishimura is a significant rival as a pitcher, and also I can't remember his name, but Arisa's older brother, who they
Yep.
had the practice game against a couple episodes ago. Were you about to say
That
like his name? Do you remember?
Mita? Not really
Mita?
sure.
Okay, sure. Let's go with Mita. Mita
Yep.
is also like a significant rival character. I think there's it's pretty clear from the baseball splashing in the river that there's a third one
Yep.
over at that school. And I we'll meet him eventually, probably in the next episode, honestly, because this one ended on that note.
Yep. All right.
It was a long time spent on
Uh,
Mix.
yeah. Should we get to the next show?
Sure. Now, do you want that to be Sarazanmai or what?
Yep. Let's do with Sarazanai.
Okay. Oh God. This episode. How'd you feel about it?
I feel that the pair, uh, Rio and Mabu, they not necessary to be like the main pair. They like the main characters, but they do have like a good closing act. So that was an emotional that revealed and conclusion to them. So yeah, I think the episode is really good.
Okay.
How about you?
I did not
Did they
find it
did
to
they go
be.
off the mark?
I don't know. Like at this point, the show is headed towards its end game. So to complain too much about that is just to be like, well, I just don't like the way it's going. Um,
Exactly that. Yes.
but the thing is, I feel as though the if Sarazanmai is like a roller coaster ride,
Yep.
then we it's just like a classic roller coaster ride in that you spend a long time like slowly going up the tracks, like with the wheels clicking underneath you for like the first how long, probably like 7 episodes, I would say, are like the ascent to the top of the peak.
Yep. Hmm.
And then episodes like 8 and 9 are a bunch of like, wah, you're going like up and down, and then this episode was just like the straight drop.
Yep.
You're just it's like it's like it just left the tracks. You still went straight down, and there
Yep.
are tracks underneath you that you're gonna land on. But for
Uh,
this episode, in its straight descent of just like plot, here's the story, here's what's been going on. They're like the cart that you're riding in wasn't attached to anything. It was
right.
just like, I don't know, man. Like specifically the scene where they go into the basement of
Uh-huh.
the otter's lair, like the very bottom floor, and they encounter Korokepi.
Yep. Yep.
Um, There's like a 30-second scene where Kepi just spends all that time explaining its origin, and there's like a still shot that slowly zooms out of the characters all looking up at Kuro Kepi. He just
Right.
goes in. He's like, oh, this Kuro Kepi is the despair that the Otter Empire took from me after they stole it from me after I plucked my own Shirikodama during the war of the Kappa and the Otters and like split it in two because I was afraid of the damage that my despair could do in the war. Like he just dumps the series backstory right into your ear and hopes that
Yep.
it makes its way into your brain. It was just not very graceful at all. Um, I mean, maybe that's the kind of delivery that was necessitated by the short run, the 11 episode run. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm just feeling like maybe in those first 5 episodes, maybe do one fewer um, Kappa Zombie of the week, and then you're going to give yourself a little bit more time to reveal the Otter versus Kappa conflict more gradually. Like
Yep.
it was this scene specifically. I have other gripes with the episode, but it was this scene specifically that was just like, okay, we've spent a long time establishing the Kappa and the Otters and these different characters and a whole bunch of symbols um, as our players. But now we're just going to move those off to the side for a second, and we're going to tell you what is going on. I don't want to hear that. I want to break the show down on my own. I want the characters to play their parts on the chessboard, and for me to observe that and get the story in the process. I don't want to just be told what the war was, what happened during the war, and what all this stuff is like in such literal terms. I'm really not a fan of that.
All right. I do think that Ikuhara shows usually offset with twists and turns. So usually the twists come from like explaining the something or like the whole the event in the new light, and that's what we got in this episode regarding Rio and Mabu's relationship, and regarding that as well. So we don't really know that the dark angry red eyes
Kurokepi.
uh yeah, that's right, who exactly he is. So this
We do
one
know
is
exactly who he is. Kep
did we know that
Kepi
before?
literally spells out what
No,
it is.
yeah, that's right. That's what I mean. So that when we didn't know that before the episodes. So that's why this episode he explained that in a different light, and I can understand your complaint about like just like info dump everything that we haven't learned before into our mind. But for me, I feel so right with that because yeah, I still like before the episode I still wonder what that thing is. So I got the explanation, and that still makes sense. So
But in a show that is so heavy on symbolism, wouldn't you prefer to wonder? Wouldn't you prefer for the let's say the metaphor or the imagery or the symbolism being used? Wouldn't you prefer it to be like so striking that it kind of imprints itself on you, and like you subconsciously come to some sort of conclusion or decision about what it is, just because of how, like, what kind of mark it leaves on you. I felt like that was the deal with Utena, was that show's imagery was so, I mean, I would say that it was in your face,
mhm.
but it was also abstract enough, and the ending was like metaphorical enough, with Anthe being like pierced by all the swords and stuff, and it like it just wasn't. I don't know. It didn't seem that there was this gigantic, um, like
Plot.
clarifying moment.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
true that near the end of Utena, you do start to get, you do get the backstory of Anthe and her brother,
Hmm. Hmm.
about like who they really are and what happened, to bring them to this point. But
Hmm.
the show is also constantly setting that up by including those fairy tale scenes in like almost every episode leading up to that.
All right.
So I don't feel as though Sarazanmai really, in regards to Kurokepi and a lot of the Otter stuff, a lot of it was reserved for either the pre-credit scene or the post-credit scene.
Yep.
And it didn't just seem like totally woven into the story for me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, because for me, even now, after 10 episodes, I still don't really feel about the whole Kappa and Otter war. But I would say that it's not the main point of the show. So that's why the show tend to, like over simplify or like just gloss over the details.
Wait,
So that's why
what do you mean it's not the main point of the show? That's what we've been watching for 10 episodes.
Yeah, but I think the main point really is the three boys, and the three boy relationship wanted to connect each other or some sort of stuff, and
Or some sort of stuff.
and even Reo and Mabu, it's not that straightforward at all. So yeah.
I don't think I don't agree. Like
Right.
all the everything that the guys have gone through, Kazuki, Enta, and Toy, has all been in the context of like we've been turned into kappas, whatever. We and we're fighting against the kappa zombies that are created by the otters. That's the show.
Yep. And now it turned out that the otters is the design.
Yeah, that's another thing that's like literally explained to us right after we get the whole thing about Kurokepi. That science and technology otter with the red trim. He shows up and explains, "Oh yeah, otters are we're a materialization of people's desires. We show up in the real world when, people have strong desires, and we want to cut all the connections in the world." Like, it's just let me wonder, please. Let me think.
Well, they want to be more straightforward. I would say.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was alluding to before we started talking about this. Like,
Yep.
that's what the show wants, and to fight against that too much really doesn't help your understanding of it.
Right.
But that is my issue, is that my understanding came too quickly in this episode.
All right. I think I can grasp what you mean. How do you feel about Leo and Mabu's ending this week out?
I don't know.
All right. You said it was like the emotional roller coaster. So this you
No, I didn't say emotional. I purposely did not say emotional.
All right.
Because I do not feel very emotional about anything that's going on in the show as of this point.
All right. Yep.
I don't really care that they're dead, because they were just tangential to the story of the three boys. I mean, they're all involved in the same bigger story, but it's true that the three boys did have more time in the spotlight. And that's the thing I said last week about like needing to read the Twitter account and the manga and stuff in order to get the deal with the like what the deal was with the otter cops, who are actually kappa. It turns out they're kappas.
Yeah. Did you get any of that?
What do you mean? Did I get it?
Because it's just like all flying over my head now with all these information. So they were kappas.
Yeah, they
So
were Kepi's retainers. So
right.
Kepi, being the prince of the Kappa kingdom, he was the two of them served him in some capacity.
Right.
But during the Kappa and Otter War, it seems as though they may have betrayed him. Which may be how the otters were able to kind of take over, like to decimate their their population or just to defeat them in some way. There's like a post-credit scene in episode 6, maybe, where we see like a gigantic otter kind of rampaging like Godzilla through the Kappa Kingdom.
Mm.
And so I think maybe it's implied that they betrayed Kepi. Um, I don't know.
All
Maybe we'll
right.
get that cleared up in the next episode. I mean, they are dead, and honestly I kind of feel as though they might come back.
I don't think that they will come back though. I think that this is like the satisfying way for them to like to exit the story now.
Well, wait, if you were kind of confused about what was going on with them in this episode, then on what level was it satisfying?
Because they make like the very nice exit.
Okay.
I just don't see them like just go back to life again in the next episodes. But who knows? Like with Ikuhara's shows, characters might pop back later on.
Yeah, and I mean, in this show, you do have the ability to raise people from the dead.
Yep.
Um, you know,
Yep.
I mean, we saw it in this episode. Kazuki got the golden plate. He put all 5 plates together, got the golden plate, and brought Enta back from, I guess, it's the verge of death.
Yep.
Because the only reason he was alive in the first place was because Cappy, extracted his butt ball and turned him into a Kappa.
Mm.
So I guess he wasn't actually revived from the dead, but assembling all the plates will allow you to. I imagine that it might allow you to do that. Might actually allow you to bring someone back from the grave. And also, at the end, the post credit scene, like Kuro Kepi is.
Yep.
Well, there are actually a couple screenshots that I took that I want to link to you as we're discussing, and I'll put them up on screen for those of you who are listening to this on YouTube.
All right.
Let me see if I can make this happen here. I'm going to send a screenshot of the Kurokepi system first.
All right.
So I was using a Senshi subs, so you're going to see a Senshi subtitles on the screen.
Yep.
This is a scene where you can see at the top. I'm going to get to what it says at the top later, but at the very bottom you can see that it says Kurokepi system.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, we know what it is. It's the manifestation of Kepi's like despair. But
right.
they seem to have mechanized it somehow. It's some sort of machine or some sort of system. And so in the post-credit scene, it launches, and it opens up like a gate through which Chikai emerges.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like beckoning Toy to come with him to the other side, outside the circle of connection. So,
Yep.
I mean, I'm thinking that might be like the gate in Full Metal Alchemist, where that might be a way for like Ryo and Mabu to be accessed. If you go inside the Kurokepi system, if you go inside the gate that it has opened up, I mean, if Chikai, who is dead, is emerging from there, then you might be able to go in and, contact people who have passed away, or perhaps even retrieve them.
I think it's not necessarily Chikai who talked to Toy, but more like the manifestation of Otter, who just appear to be Chikai in order to talk Toy into the gate.
Oh, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, wait a second. What was that made clear? Did we see Chikai like as an otter? Did we see an otter transform into him?
It doesn't make clear, but I think from the screenshot you can see that these Chikai have the having like the red face, like the red outline, which
okay. Wow, bang! This is a big hole in my theory.
Well, I might be wrong though, but
No, I mean,
think
you're probably right, because the otters do like prey on people's desires. The otter possesses Enta at a certain point in the episode, like it goes in through his nose and he sees Kazuki like acknowledging his feelings.
That's right. Yep.
And
Yep. I just watched that scenes, and they have like the red outline. So I
okay,
think that will be Otter.
right. All right, then never mind. It is not it is not a gate to the great beyond or anything. It's just, I guess that's just a way to depict, I don't know, despair.
The
Like
other side.
the otters want to drag people outside the circle of connection. They want people to obsess about their desires and give into despair in the process.
Well, we
And that's
we
even, you
only
can see in the Kurokepi screenshot, it says despair unleash. So
yep. Well,
hooray.
we only have one episode left, so we will know the answers in the next week. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be pretty much that Kazuki gonna sell toy, and then both of them gonna sell entire around time before he
Why do
passed
they need
away.
to save Enta? He's not going to pass away. He's been like revived with the golden
Oh
plates.
yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. That's right. So uh Toy and Kazuki gonna sell entire, and Kazuki gonna sell toy.
But do you think the show's going to spend a full 22 minutes on them trying to rescue Toy and defeating
I
the
think
otters? Like, given the
that
speed at which this episode moved, I feel like there might be some more Rio and Mabu stuff. Some more information
I
about the war, something.
I think I think they gonna have to fight Otter. So yeah, that's gonna be big. I don't know how they gonna kill them though.
I don't know. I don't know if they will kill them. I mean, otters are just manifestations of people's desires.
Yeah,
So
but he been manipulating other people, and just that basically just drag them into uh, the pain and the destruction. So he needed to be killed.
yeah, I guess. Um, yeah. So I don't know how the show's gonna wrap up. I mean, the otters are gonna be, or the otter. I mean, that's another disappointment that I have kind of. I mean, in the background of this show, ever since like the midpoint, we've gotten the idea that there was this larger conflict between kappas and otters.
Yep.
Not just the individual defeats of kappa zombies that the cops were creating. But the only otter we've really seen is like the science and tech otter with the red outline. It's just the one like individual dude.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, it kind of makes sense because the otters are more metaphorical
Yep.
existences. So it's not as though you need to see like their army or anything, But still, with the backdrop of there being some larger conflict between the two species or the two races, whatever, it would be nice to get the sense that it was more than just like a single guy saying "uso" over and over.
Yep.
I don't know. Um,
All right.
I have more to say, honestly. I got more.
All right. You
Um,
can say more. You can
I
say
have,
one
dude.
more.
I have way more, to be honest. But I guess if we're gonna do one thing, I mean, I think I have an idea about the show's central philosophy.
Right.
And everybody, whenever they're talking about Sarazanmai, you keep seeing, like, perhaps this is because Ikuhara does keep a lid on things until the very end when he, like, rips off the Band-Aid, and uh, Kepi explains the entire plot and
Yep.
backstory. Um, but a lot of people just say, like, the word connection over and over and over when they're talking about Sarazanmai. And they're
Mhm.
like, oh, this show, man, it's all about connections. But when you think about it, isn't, like, literally every show about connections on some level? Like when people talk to one another, they're forming connections. When people are like making friendships or just meeting new people, like everything is about connections. That's pretty
That
broad
that
and vague.
that's true. Yep.
But I think that I actually started to pin down like what the episodes like or what the series' core belief is, and that is that the otter's mistaken belief that connection and desire um, are
I the
two
same.
no, are different.
Oh.
Because you can even see in that screenshot, it says love or libido. And that's something that the show's been doing more and more recently, is like framing lust or libido or desire or instinct as
Mhm.
opposite to love or connection. But the very first line of this episode from Rio is, "The future belongs only to those who connect their desires." So the message being delivered there is that you can have your instinct, like you're more you're perhaps more selfish and more like in instinctual desires and needs. You can have them coexist with your more selfless and more empathetic love for others and your connections with them. So I think
Oh.
that people like the otters are making the mistake of severing these connections between people and like drawing them outside the circle, um,
Mm.
because they think that people's desires ought to be like manipulated, isolated, controlled, and transformed into Kappa zombies, because that's the way that they, I don't know, that's the way they operate. That's the way they get garner like power, energy, whatever. I think ultimately the way that the otters are going to be defeated is that like the main characters, whoever ends up beating their brains in the end, is going to like embrace the fact that they can connect with others and also still like hold like a deeper, more physical love for them.
Mhm.
um, because when you think about it, the story of Rio and Mabu is the story of two gay men who are forced by the otters to keep their love hidden.
Yep. Yep.
So the otters are kind of functioning as like they're they're functioning as societal pressure not to not to be open about the sort of connection that you want to have with others. So that's kind of one of the reasons that I'm upset about the whole Rio and Mabu story, is that they're they're the two characters who are the most openly gay,
Mhm.
um, or perhaps the most clearly gay. Like they're not openly gay because they're prohibited by the otters from expressing that to one another. But they get the short straw in this series.
Mhm.
They get like the least time on screen, when really it's their story that is kind of central to the idea of connections and desires being united rather than artificially kept apart.
Yep. I You make like a very good argument there. Um, I still don't know like the three main characters, how the show gonna deal with all that, but maybe it had more to the central team. Not really sure, but yeah, I really see why Real and Mabu relationship gonna tie up to the core team of Sarazama, just like you said. Good analysis there.
I have more, but I guess we can move on.
All right. Then the next week gonna be the last the finale of Sarazama, so we can have more to talk about that on the central team as well.
Yeah.
Our impression on the show as a whole. So yeah, we still have next week to talk about Sarazama.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to like put a pin in all the other stuff I want to say because there's more. Like I'm trying, perhaps because this episode, perhaps because I won't say anymore, but perhaps because this episode was so revelatory in
Yep.
its like, oh, this is what Kurokepi is, and this is what the otters are, and this is the nature of the conflict that's been going on between the two. Like because it was so clear in that regard, I think I'm trying to like read into the
More into.
show's thesis, like its core belief, its philosophy.
Yep.
I'm trying. I want to access the part of the show that is still still has a lid on it. You know,
Right. Yep. Yep.
uh,
Yep.
So, I mean, hopefully the very next episode is not just characters talking at length like I just was, because that might be okay for a podcast, but it's not okay for a television show.
All
Uh,
right.
so yeah, I am despite like all all my complaints and all my I am looking forward to the next episode because I the show is still generating in me the desire, pun intended, to know to know more.
The lust.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I'm gonna sync up my connections and my desires for this final episode.
But really nice analysis there, Whooper.
Well,
It's
thanks.
a long nice arguments.
Yeah,
Uh,
the sort of think pieces that people write about Ikuhara shows. I
right.
think that I could probably do that for this one and
Yep.
get like get some Twitter followers off the back of that. But that would also take a lot of rewatching, a lot of
Yep. Pick
I'll
up.
just all that
Right.
not really worth it. I don't feel that strongly about it.
All right. So let's get to the last show of the seasonal stuff, which is Karen and Karen and Tuesday. Well,
You got Sada's on my on the brain.
oh my, that's right. All right. Kappa, just get off me. So now
Right.
let's go to Carol
Kappa
and
and Tuesday.
Tuesdays. We have the semis, and not all of them. We still have a Carol and Tuesday performance left. Um, how do you feel about the episode? How all right. First, how do you like all the songs?
Okay, sure. We can start with the songs. That's I like that. I like that idea. That's an interesting way to start it off. How did we start it off? GGK was first.
That's right.
Definitely,
Chichikate.
definitely not as hot on this one as I was on the last one.
All
I mean,
right.
it has the same vibe. It has the same, kind of spacey, groovy, kind of atmosphere to it.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I thought the first one was way more sensual and kind of more representative of the fact that she is being like possessed when she sings. In this one, like especially the phrase "do the gravity bounce" over and over feels kind of like like a dance anthem kind of thing. Like everybody do the gravity bounce, woo! Whereas in the first one, it felt like there was some credence to her claim that she was being like taken over by spirits when she was performing.
Yep.
So, I still hope
It's
she
the-
wins, but of course she lost.
All right. It still remain my favorite songs performance in this week though.
Yeah,
Like, do
of the
they-
three, it was my favorite, I think, but not a super
Uh,
strong field in my opinion.
Yep. For Angela song, for me it's more like Taylor Swift doing like her pop dance, her pop country pop. Sorry.
Country pop.
Yeah.
What was country about this?
All right. I mean like the first song is more like the first song of Angela is more like Taylor Swift before she become like a pop artist. So like her first album basically.
Okay.
And this one is like Taylor Swift when she like in her most popular.
Yeah,
It's-
honestly, there. Do you know a lot about Taylor Swift? Because you're
All right.
like, do
I
you
have a
know? Do you
list-
know like album by album? Do you have a general, knowledge of her overview of her
All
career?
right. I haven't listened to her music for the last few years, so I might miss her most recent like two albums. But like before that, I aware of her albums.
Okay, so then you know the album 1989.
Yep.
Okay,
So this
Nin-
one's. Yep. Go on.
were you about to say that this one is more like 1989?
That's right. Yep.
No, okay. I have to stop you right there because 1989 is actually a good album. Like that's the one project by Taylor Swift that I actually like, because it was like she drew a lot of influence from, well, not necessarily groups from the 80s, but like, do you know the band Haim?
Oh yeah, I know
the
them.
Three
Yeah,
Sisters.
the Sixers. Yeah.
Yeah, like there are some songs on that album that sound like Taylor Swift was really jamming out to some Haim during the
Hmm.
production of that album. And the big synths and the like just the grandiosity of that album, I thought were pretty cool. Um,
What?
but this song by Angela was not like that at all, man.
All right.
It was like bubblegum, sickly sweet Katy Perry type of shit.
Get very all right.
Yeah, like I'm a star. Everybody just wants to be me, but all I want is you. I don't know. Like, actually, all I want is you sounds like a Taylor Swift line, but, um, dude, I know this song by Angela just made me want to gag. It it was
All right.
awful.
Well, no, still it present like different side of hers from her serious song from last week to like this new thing. So yeah, well, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, the judge does make a comment about that, which is kind of used as the justification to launch her into the finals was that like, oh, last week you showed us you could sing, but this week you showed us a new side of yourself. Like.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
But no, dude, like, no. Okay, the first, okay, so musical taste, obviously highly subjective. But I think there was a real issue with the way that the song was presented and handled because we actually did not hear the chorus.
Oh, we did not hear the chorus.
No,
Oh
it
yeah,
was,
yeah. It was cut short.
yes, it
That's
was
right.
cut short. And I mean, I assumed it was just edited that way to get the episode down to airing length because it does air on TV before it goes up on Netflix in Japan.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But that like the fact that Angela's song was cut off just it it really hurt it because the first half is more like I'm a star and the second half she starts to sing more about like the guy who she really wants but he won't look her way. And those are two like different concepts and different movements in the song. And it's building towards a chorus, perhaps when it will like unite those two ideas. But it doesn't get there. Like it's cut off and everyone just applauds rapturously. It doesn't, dude, it doesn't make sense. Like GGK's performance was actually longer. I timed them. Angela's was
Yep.
1 minute 14 seconds and GGK's was 1 minute and 20 seconds. 1 minute and 52 if you count the dressing room scene with Angela,
Yep.
where you can still
Mm-hmm.
hear her song playing in the background. Why is
Right.
GGK getting more time spent on her song than Angela, who is one of the, like, she's not a central character, but she's certainly more significant? That's a
All
really
right.
bizarre decision.
Yep. I can just say that maybe GGK song is more complete
Yeah, well,
than
I think
Angela
it's,
songs.
yeah. I don't know. And then Piotr was just doing, like, basically a redux of his first song. It was the same, like Michael Jackson footwork and the
Right.
voice that sounds absolutely nothing like his speaking voice.
Yeah, and I don't even remember like the tone or the tune or even the lyrics of that song. So it's just not the kind of song that I usually listen to. Sadly.
Yeah, I mean, you could just pull up any Bruno Mars track from
Yep.
like early in his career, and that would be it.
Okay, so now talking about the actual content.
Well, that's the thing. The like the performances and everything immediately surrounding them kind of was the actual content because we got so little of Carolyn Tuesday this week.
All right. Yeah, there is an actual content though, which is Caron and Tuesday actually have some kind of falling off. And
Not really, right?
all right, yeah. For the reason I think that pretty was clumsy and stupid. Like I mean, like they frame it the way that Caron was hanging up on what's her name on the other
Sibel?
girl, yeah, on Sibel's, so that she wanted to to run after her, basically to talk to her again. But then she got lost, and then they just got lost, and and then Caron, she like from out of nowhere, she got like a birthday present that she couldn't have the right time to give to Tuesday. And when you think about that, they live in the same roof. Why couldn't she just give her then, you know? And then it get into the point that even Caron had to comment her to herself that, like, we are in out of tune lately,
Right.
or something.
We're out of sync. Yeah, something
I,
like
I
that.
I was just like, oh my god, so why? Like the first thing that the first factor that doesn't go into their plan is that Erdogan is a gadget, and I think that was really good. But then every other thing that happened to them, it just sounds so stupid. Like the scene that I groaned the most is the one where they just barely miss each other in the lift.
Yeah, yeah. I was
I was like,
also like,
oh my god, that's just so bad.
what is this?
And
Like a mid-90s romantic
yeah,
comedy?
and then like in the end, we even got like Tuesday got hurt from the
Yeah,
I
like
think the
anthrax
bomb
or whatever.
present. And oh my god, like it just so clumsy put together, like all these, like falling out of, not really falling out, like I don't even know what that is, like no one knows what that is. And it just so bad. Like the actual content, it was really bad.
Um, I'm agreeing with you. I didn't feel as down on the episode as you. I don't think because my expectations are not very high. So,
Yep.
um, like, okay, the first question I want to ask is, when exactly is Tuesday's birthday? Because that's a detail that I kind of missed.
Missed.
I mean, I knew it was her birthday soon, but what's the actual day? Is it that day of the episode? Is it in the future? When is it?
Have no idea. Like I think they mentioned that like something like last week. I don't know,
Well,
but like
Sibel says like happy birthday to her, right?
right,
But is
but like
when she says that, is she implying that it's like her birthday's coming up and this is her chance to give her gift, or is it that day?
no idea. Like the whole birthday thing, I think just spring up this week.
Okay. Well, if it is in the future and Sibel is using this as her chance to give Tuesday a gift because she won't see her later,
Yep.
then it kind of makes sense that Carol has been hanging on to the present and hasn't given it to her yet, despite the fact that they're roommates. Also, they've been busy with this Mars Brightest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I just don't like the timeline. I'm not really clear on.
All
And
right.
if I
All
had
right.
been more attentive to the episode, perhaps I would be. But it was like boring, so I was not totally engaged.
All right. So who do you think is was the one who sent the present, the bomb present or something?
I mean, it was Sibel.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
All right. Because
Doesn't it
I
have a
get
note on it or something? Like it's from Sibel?
they just a note say happy birthday.
Okay. But Sibel is acting like a super crazy stalker girl and is like, wait, there's
Well,
no way it was given to her by somebody else. You think it was like Angela or Tao or like who are you thinking it was?
yeah. Well, I had no idea. Maybe her mom.
Whose mom?
I don't,
Tuesday's mom?
Tuesday mom.
God.
Well,
How
I think like
horrifying.
I think like all the point lead to Sibel, but it isn't. It's that obvious.
I just
Isn't
hate
it?
Sibel's character and everything having to do with her. Why is
No.
Tuesday attempting to stay on friendly terms with this random stalker chick who gave her a
Yep.
hickey? Like who bit her neck? What are you doing? What is the show doing? Attempting like to patch up this quote unquote friendship. I don't get it.
I have no idea. Well,
I mean, I know that she finds it hard to be direct with people and she finds it hard to like rebuff this girl's advances at first. But then she does seem to get over that, or at least to make some progress in telling her, Cybele and Tuesday is not going to happen in episode
Yep.
9. And then in this one, suddenly she's like, oh no, I don't want to have offended her. I don't want to hurt her feelings. She stopped texting me. What does it
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
What, like, it's
That's
so,
it. I
I
know
don't
it's
know.
stupid. That's why.
It's so dumb.
All right. Since we run out of time, let's get to Conan now, shall we?
Sure. Yeah, we gotta
Alright.
go through Conan pretty fast as well. I mean, if we
Yep.
don't want to go, if we don't want to hit like 2 hours or whatever.
Right. For Conan, for the last 4 episodes, we have like the team, in the High Haber, which is like the village light, grasslight. Like it very natural compared to Industria that we saw in last week.
It's been a nice change of pace, honestly.
That's right.
Get some really
And
beautiful painterly backgrounds. Feels like
and it
using so many different colors instead of just gray, brown. It
that's
it
right.
feels very refreshing.
And it's really a change of pace because it's run more like a slack life now instead of the adventure.
Um,
Don't you
hmm.
think?
Well, I mean, it's true that they're not. It's not an adventure in the sense that they're going up like some greater power, like man versus country.
Yep.
Um, Instead, it's there are like smaller scale conflicts, I guess, like between Orlo and his
Yep.
gang and the village. That
That's
is a
right.
smaller story. However, it's big for the people who are involved. Orlo is
Right.
not. He's like not. He's not messing around. He is quick to pull a knife on somebody if he
Right.
wants something from them and feels like that's the quickest way to get it. So I would say it still like retains its adventure roots. Like the scene where they tie up the boar to the
Yep.
rock, that's got a bit of adventure to it. And um this upcoming conflict, that's
Yep.
kind of foreshadowed by
Uh,
episode 16, or not even foreshadowed, just like Industria is here. But
well.
yeah, it is lighter, it is more natural, it is more there's a word that I really want to use but I can't think of it. um
Uh,
Go ahead.
speak. All right. Speaking of that note, when the industrial people come in the end of episode 16, do you think of the reason why they come? Is that they come to look for the 3 year kids,
um
or they want to invade?
I don't know. I think they probably just want to invade. I mean, maybe they probably want Lana,
Well,
because they can use her as a bargaining chip against her uncle.
that uncle, grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa. My bad. She keeps calling everyone
Uh,
uncle in this episode, so I got I got into the habit of saying uncle.
but the thing is, they needed Lana for in order to capture Dr. Laos, and now Dr. Laos was the one who came back to Industria, so they would have like no reason to come in to this land to capture Lana
Well,
now.
that's what I'm saying, is that like they can use Lana as a bargaining chip against Lao, because Lao is
All right.
now in
Mhm.
Industria, working as a sort of countering force to Lepka's desire to just,
Right.
like dominate everything, control
Yep.
everything, wage war on the rest of the world, I guess, because he wants to get those war machines back up and running.
Yep.
So Lao is obviously going to try to put a stop to that. And if they have Lana, they can just like hold her at gunpoint and be like, okay, Lao, you know, get out of your flying machine and
Listen to me.
yeah, listen to me. I'm Lepka. Hear me roar.
Right. Right.
So I think they do want to invade, because there's resources there.
Yep.
So that makes sense in and of itself. But I think they probably want to capture Lana again, if only because capture Lana and then rescue Lana are like the show's two like go-to plot points.
Yep. I really like the like like you said before, the philosophy themes of the show. Um, when the kids get into high harbor, like they ask them, like the people there ask them, the villagers ask them to work, because like what they say, if you want to eat you have to work.
Right.
I really like that idea. So
That,
like
that
every,
Go ahead.
yep, go on. I just say like everyone in the village will do have to work, and yeah, and they gain resources based from their work.
Right. Yeah, and they share them with everyone else. Like
That's
Conan
right.
gets the job fishing with Uncle Gull. Uncle Gull's the one who explains it to him very nicely, I thought, in a way that a kid can understand. Like the concept of work and of community and of sharing and pooling your resources. He says, I don't work out in the fields with the wheat, but I still eat bread. I don't make
Yep.
clothes, but I still wear them.
Mm.
And that kind of presentation would be very easy for Conan to grasp, even though he hasn't been part of like a larger commune or group of people or society. Um,
Correct. Mm.
it was always just him and his grandpa.
And not only him, but to Chimsy as well, because they first like set out their job as to hunt, but then they eventually learn that hunting is like against, is basically just harm in the environment, and against um against others property. So
Right.
that was, they started to um like chimpanzees started to tend to them instead of hunting them.
Yeah. I do. I agree
Have
with what you're saying, but I do think there's a certain extent to which this show, finds, um, you know, hunting animals, industry, it finds those things to be tolerable. If you're using natural resources for survival
Yep.
and for the good of your community, for the happiness of its members, and for um, if you're not abusing the earth, taking too
Yep.
much from it, I think it's okay with a certain amount of that. Like
Mm.
the scene where Conan and Jimshi are, they go to kind of the industrial section of High Harbor, where there's like a flour mill, and there's carpentry, there's a blacksmith. The
Yep.
girls
Mm.
do like textile work. They weave clothes and fabric. And these things are all like they're taking resources from the earth and repurposing them
Yep.
to make tools, clothes, food, things like that. And I think the show has some admiration for those practices, in so much as they are jobs at which you can work in order to better your own situation and the situation of the people you care about. Like to provide resources for your family, your friends.
Yep. I think
Um,
that's why.
Go
Yep.
ahead.
Sorry. I think that's why Olo and the gang remain like the right villains for these stories, because they are the one who like abuse the environments, and abuse uh, their job as well, their role, in order to get whatever they want and don't have to work.
Right. Yeah. The not working is the big thing. Like the scene where
Yep.
Jimsy is promised a leadership position and he gets to ride on a horse. He goes off
Mm.
with Orlo's sister, and then he realizes the goat, the little baby goat that he wants to kill and eat, belongs to
Yep.
someone else. Excuse me. And so when he figures that out, he's like, "Oh, okay, I didn't realize this was yours. I'm sorry." But the girl, having, being Orlo's little sister, is like, "No, I want it. I want you to have it. So take it, kill it."
Yep.
Ah!
I have the knife here. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So it is. Yeah. the philosophy of the show is, you know, take what you need from the earth and give back to it as well.
Yep.
And work,
That's right.
you know, work honestly, not just for yourself, but for the benefit of others. Pretty simple morals, I think. But
Well,
the
it's
fact that Conan and Jimsy are like new to this concept allows it
yep.
to seem a little bit more fresh to us as an audience because they're learning everything from scratch.
That's right. And this is a children's show, so to speak. So that's why I think the message is simple and clear. Like that would help a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is able to carry these 4 episodes for the most part. That same theme.
Right.
Although the show offers some intrigue as well, you know, with like Orlo's gang being so threatening, and then there's the whole subplot with Uncle Gull. Like they introduce Tito and the village of orphans,
Yep.
and that Uncle Gull is, um,
Helping them out.
yeah,
Not really doing the trading
surreptitiously.
with them.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's keeping it under wraps.
Mhm.
Um, and then there's the whole thing where, you know, there's the heirloom from the memento of Lana's mother that Orlo wants. I think
Yep. Yep.
Orlo is
Hmm.
probably in love with Lana, and
Huh.
he wants, because like he's kind of posturing when she first comes back to the village and he sees her again. He's kind of posturing, like first of all he's on a horse, so he's literally above Conan and Jimsy.
Yep.
Um, but he's also like, oh yeah, we're childhood friends. We go way back. Any friend of Lana's is a friend of mine. He's a little bit arrogant and smug about it.
Yep.
And he also wants this this memento of Lana's mother. And I think the reason he wants it is because he feels as though he will like possess some part of Lana if he has it. Like he wants control over her and he wants possession of her.
Mhm.
And this isn't made explicit because their characters don't share a ton of screen time, but
Yep.
I think that he is that sort of controlling person, and that's probably the reason why he wants this specific item.
Right. Well, not as subtle is the romance between Jimsy and his sisters
Yeah,
and
yeah,
older
that was
sisters.
that
That
was
was cute.
yeah, it was cute. It was a little heavy-handed, but it was cute as well. Like she, you know, when Orlo is planning on going to war with High Harbor, you know, the proper village.
Yep.
She's like, the first thing she does is freak out about Jimsy and like, you know, go to Lana's house and try to find him.
What about Jimsy? What do you do to Jimsy? You're gonna kill Jimsy?
Yeah.
And he said like, yes, all right, I gonna ride a horse in order to to meet Jimsy.
Yeah. I mean, she has the like the cute little design with she's got the dress, which is supposed to represent femininity, I guess, but she also has the like the furrowed brow and kind of the harsh features a little bit. Even though she has the bows in her hair, she's also like kind of a tomboy because she lives with all those guys.
Yep. Mhm.
So this crush that she's developed on Jimsy is probably like formative for her. It's probably the first guy who she's ever really
Yep.
liked, and
Had
so
mhm.
yeah, of course she would be worried. She's like, oh no, my youthful feelings.
Yeah.
I don't know, like her. You know how Japan's always talking about youth, like seishun.
Right.
Yeah, these are like her young maiden first love. And so of course she's not gonna shut up about it.
Nice.
Yeah, well,
Um.
what? I mean, that's pretty much what happens.
Yep.
Um,
Well, I pretty think that we ended on a very intriguing note, as I really wanted to see more to see like what gonna happen to the kids, but that gonna be for the next week.
yeah.
All
I
right.
do want to say one more thing about just like the beginning of episode 16.
Right.
There's a dream that Lana has, you know, because we know
Yep.
she has that connection, that telekinetic, not telekinetic,
The
telepathic connection with her
yeah.
grandpa.
Uh-huh.
So she has this dream at the start of episode 16, which she later assumes to be him trying to contact her. And I really love the way that it progresses, like with kind of unconscious logic. It starts out in
Mm-hmm.
the like the abandoned underground city of Industria with all those dead trees. She's
Yep.
running, and then she sees Lau's flying machine like descending at an angle that kind of goes beneath the earth, but is still
Mm-hmm.
visible. Like they overlaid the cell images of the trees on top of his descending and like his flying machine, which is in flames.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already like from the start of that sequence, it's presented as something that could only happen in a dream. It kind of violates the rules, like the visual reality that you could possibly portray. So when we're
Yep.
awake, and then it moves from Lau's flying machine being on fire to High Harbor being on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And she's anxious about that, so she turns and she sees that the wheat fields, like there's a boat sailing through them, and you can see the waves cresting on either side of the boat as it moves through the ocean of wheat, and then the ship
Mm-hmm.
transforms into like a fish, with like gigantic jaws that threatens to eat her. It's just I really love the way that it moves from one like threatening intimidating experience to the next.
Yep. Yep.
um, Feels very, very dreamlike, and especially like the sort of dream that a character with her mental ability might have.
Yep.
So I thought that was really cool. Good way to
Yep.
open the episode to foreshadow. This actually is proper foreshadowing that
Mm-hmm.
Industria might arrive, and that her uncle might be in trouble. So it
Right.
sets up what happens at the end of the episode,
Yep.
which
I
I thought
like
was
the.
great.
Yep. I like this dream sequence as well. The nightmare sequence, basically.
Right, right, yeah. Nightmare is definitely a better word for it.
Right. Um.
That's
All
about
right. Do
that's
you
about
have?
all I've got. How about you?
All right. I think that's what I got as well. This four episode have been a bit lighter on plot compared to on these. Oh, it's actually more plot than the first. I think the first four episodes where it's all about rescuing Lana. But I really enjoy the four episode that we have, and I think the plot getting tired now that the conflict between the Industriat and the High Habers uh put in the they put that conflict in the forefront now.
Right. Yeah, yeah. We don't actually get anything of Lepka. We don't see any Lepka.
Yep.
We don't see any Monsley. We do see Dice. We didn't talk about Dice at all.
All right,
Um,
nice. He doing his usual things.
yeah, he's back to his
That
old ways.
can say that I'm surprised that he just like stabbing in the back of the kids. Actually, he fun of the kid, but he um
He's willing to burn
he's
down their treehouse in order to get his ship back. But
yeah,
Orlo is like control. Dice thinks that he is controlling Orlo, but it's really the other way around.
that's right.
Dice really
But
wants his ship back, and he's willing to trust in these no good kids in order
and
to somehow get it raised from the ocean. I don't. That's not going to work out.
yeah, from the guy who keep telling him uncle.
Right. Yeah.
So
Old, my sub said old man.
oh, myself said uncle all the times.
Okay, so we have different. I have Live
Yep.
Evils translation. Wait, how do you have a different one? I thought this was the only one that was like seated online.
All right, let's see. I got Bonkai 77.
Okay, he must be using different subs.
Ye- Yeah, sound
That's
like
so
it.
strange because I wouldn't expect multiple subgroups to have picked this up. This is a really old show. I would figure one would do it, and that would be that.
Hmm.
Wait, let me look at my thing actually. TV series. Yeah, mine is not. Bonkai 77 is he's not really a subber. He is
Oh,
he's what's the word for it? I don't know. I'm not too familiar with all their terminology. He just
he the one who provided the seat Is it?
No, he's the one who like puts everything together. He like muxes, I think is the
Oh,
term, the subs and the video and like times it together and all that stuff. He just finds the best quality visuals and like attaches the subs to them, creates the file, and then uploads it.
all right,
So he's a one man operation, I assume. I don't think that's like a subgroup.
all
Um,
right.
but so I wonder
I
which subtitles he's using. I don't know.
all right, all right. I got here Neo 1024.
Neo 1024. Okay.
All right,
All
so
right. Well,
this
props to that guy, or that group, whoever. That sounds like one person. But the
this
more
is
the more
all
the
the
merrier.
yeah. This is all the details that I got from my
Right, I see it.
download.
Yeah, soft subs. Yeah, okay. Huh. Cool. Well, it's
All
good. I
right,
mean, that's good. The show's getting attention. It's not just being, kind of taken care of by one group and then left forgotten. Some
all
attention
right.
surrounding it.
Yep. All right. I think let's just wrap up this week.
All right.
So next week we're gonna see the end, the finale of Sarazanite, and only 1 week left until the end of this season. And next season we're
Two
gonna
two
do
weeks.
our.
2 weeks really.
All right, sorry, 2 weeks. I mean 2 weeks. 1 week left after the next week, so like 2 weeks. And after that we're gonna do our usual new seasonal preview of 10 shows, and on the third on the 30th of this month we're gonna do our special podcast of listing our top 50 anime of the decade.
Yeah, this is we should mention that this is going to be like a preliminary discussion because we do have something bigger planned
Right.
for the anime of the decade stuff. But that's obviously going to come at the end of the decade. However, we are going to talk about our thoughts so far. So it's going to be more of a, we're going to be kind of feeling each other out, like where we stand on
That's right.
all
So
these series. We'll see how much
that's
overlap there is. We'll see which ones we like disagree with, and we'll have a discussion about it.
yep. So basically, just a short list and our general impression for now. The
Yeah.
actual list will come at the end of the decade, which is
Yes.
the end of this year.
Yep. That's
Oh,
a ways off. We still got plenty more to watch, plenty more to rewatch. Before then, gonna try to make it as thorough, as complete as possible. But we
all
got our own
right,
lives to live too, so you know.
all right, all right. So make sure to tune back next week, and yep, we see you next week with the end of Sarazanite.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.